Okay, so this is my second attempt at the illustration broadcast. Had some camera issues the first time, so now I'm back with my image actually facing the right direction. And I'm going to give a quick lesson on background, foreground, and middle ground. And basically we're going to start by framing out the composition like I normally do when I sketch. And I'm going to provide a small square area where I can demonstrate background, foreground, and middle ground. Center it in my image here and try to zoom out a little bit so you guys can see more. All right, I think my camera's working better now. I always start with the foreground, and most artists will tell you the same. I give myself a silhouette when I'm sketching quickly, and I build upwards with textures. So to give a very simple foreground, let's start putting in some mountains at the ground level. I'm going to use a smooth mountain shape. Zoom in a little bit more for you guys. Put my second layer of mountains in and go a little extreme with my size. Some Dr. Seuss mountains, and add a few mini mountains, jelly bean sized, and a few pointy mountains, and a few more extreme pointies. At this point, I'm looking for some texture. Most of this first third, as we stack upwards in the composition, is going to look pretty plain if I continue to stack without adding textures. One of my favorite textures, I start with the lip line here, and I use a larger circle, and I use a very, very condensed pattern. So the top line just has tons and tons of circles, which everybody makes while they're doodling. And I follow that line with irregular and medium and larger size circles. And I start to taper off as the line goes to the right and fade a little. I also decrease the size of my pattern and the regularity. And so this is almost like increasing the noise in Photoshop, where you spread your texture out a little bit as you move out in the composition. And it's also giving me a chance, if I wanted to go back and continue to speckle, I could use pointillism and just dot, dot, dot and fill those areas. I probably will later, to be honest. But for the sake of argument, let me move my composition up a little so you can see more, and zoom a little. And after I draw the mountains, my next request is to add some buildings in on the right-hand side of the composition. So if you're lacking an idea, which most kids are when they draw, just follow with me. And yours, I'm just guessing, is not going to look exactly like mine when you're finished. But that's kind of the fun of drawing with someone, is that you compare the differences when you're finished. A lot of you will have your own textures that you'll replace. And a very obvious barn texture comes to mind. I'm drawing this sort of shed that's sitting off on the right-hand side here. So I'll use some wood panels, lots of horizontal lines. Start those horizontal lines at different breakpoints. And these breakpoints can indicate where someone had two nails and nailed together the barn, if you want it to be that kind of barn. And there's also going to be a few tucked behind the lip of the hill, or the edge of the hill. And then I'm reinforcing a couple of my door lines by giving the stroke a little more weight and pushing down harder on my pen. Some of you are drawing with a pencil right now, so if you're drawing with a pencil, you'll find you've got a lot more variety and contrast when it comes to pushing down and your pressure and sensitivity. Add a few more nails in here to the barn. I think in the theory of perspective, I need some other boards going in opposite directions here, so I'm going to vary my pattern a little bit and just infer perspective just a little bit. Some nails, and then, oh, what the heck, let's add a sign on the top. Your sign should usually follow the same perspective as your shed or the building that you draw, so look at the top line of the building that you're adding the sign to, infer the same direction. We're going to guess that our vanishing point's probably down here somewhere. And we're also going to guess that we need to keep the same vertical edges, just like most perspective drawings. Now I'm jumping ahead. We're getting into perspective when really I just said background, middle ground, foreground. but this is just a test. So what better thing to put on my sign than test? If I'm moving up a little bit into the middle ground of the composition, this is often the focus of the composition. You could have people, you could have vehicles, you could have a larger environment that you wanted to involve people in. I think just for the sake of building up some goofy textures, I'm going to use trees. And trees make another silhouette section where I can start from the left here, and I can basically indicate where I want a line of trees to start. What better than a sloping hillside, of course. And then once I've got a place to nest all those trees or to line them all up, you definitely want to vary the size. I found when I draw trees and I layer them, I like to do the trunks first. So I go and pick the width of the trunk for a bunch of them in a row. And then I like them to bend and angle in different directions. So some of these trunks will lean left and right. Some will go vertical more than others. Some will be thin and nestled down at the bottom. And if I'm going to be logical, there should be some trees behind my shed too, but I don't push as hard because maybe I want to build that area up later and allow for some color and contrast differences. So just randomly, I've placed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trunks of trees behind the middle ground. And I'm going to go back and add some roots, and my roots can hide. And they have lots of little thorn shapes, which I think are kind of fun, and you don't have to be as exact with them. You can create your own root shapes, and they look kind of neat as they overlap each other. So adding these little tendrils or thorn shapes is giving some diversity. If you look at those triangles and compare them to those weird hills I put in on the last layer, they kind of make sense. Now I'm going to continue adding roots. And these almost look like mangrove roots, but they don't bother me much. Being logical again, if I want to go side to side, I can add some branches at this point, and some of you will really choose to style your branches out deliberately. I think it's fun in a composition to lead your branches towards something, like maybe you have a cliff up here, hint, hint, that we will add in as our third layer for our background. This is a good time to talk about texture and using some jet black fills. One of the things you're going to have to do from layer to layer is make sure that you're filling accurately or including all these in-between areas. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit here and center again. Tembi, how's the quality looking on there? Is it very fuzzy?
It's okay. It's fuzzy.
It's fuzzy? Let me see if I can mess with this focus thing at all, and that helps. All right. Such is the life of a test program, right? You see any focus stuff on here? Maybe it was this
Are
one.
you using Google Hangouts?
We are using Google Hangouts, but I'm
so
also...
If it asked you to use the new version, if it says beta on the side, you have to go to old one because the new one's all fuzzy and glitchy.
Is that right?
That's fuzzy.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me see what Esteban's talking about over here.
Yeah, it'll say where it says it'll say beta somewhere. If not, you're using the old one.
Okay. Where do you see it?
That's good.
Yeah, you're using the old one because down there it'll be all glitchy. So you have it right.
I have it right? So I wonder why this is not as focused. Do you think it's because I'm choosing to zoom from so far away? Let's try something else. We will figure this out. Oh, that looks better, right?
Mm-hmm.
I put the mashup.
And if you have a lot of programs on the side, like the Google programs for like drawing and stuff, if you take them off, it'll make it less laggy.
Okay. So what if I should just run the webcam, you mean, so to speak?
So yeah.
And then it's going to want me to do all these adjustments manually from over here.
What about the flash drive?
And then let's see, no.
Do you think we were able to print out?
Flash drive is right here.
Mm-mm. Oh, this is on
There's two of them.
It's class Anson's too big.
Oh, Mr. Matt, I couldn't find the setting to make it a bigger paper or whatever.
Okay, let me stop this broadcast for now, okay? This was really my only goal today, was to get this working, because I got to go live on Tuesday, and you guys are going to be laughing at me on Tuesday if some of you get on and I don't know how to use this.
Tuesday at 9?
9:15 to give me 15 minutes to test drive my setup. This is glue drive. I glued this thing. What can't you do?
When I did Control or Command P and then it brought up that I couldn't find the option to make the picture bigger. how you printed out so big.
You have to go. Do you have it all pulled up already, or do you want to pull it up on mine and send it to the Xerox? You want it in color, right?
Yes.
So let's go ahead. I'm not broadcasting anymore here. I think. Let's see. When I. Okay, your screen sharing stop. And then what else? Do I just close